Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we are answering the question, how much does a service dog cost? Whether you're thinking about getting a service dog and you're just not sure what the best route is for you, or you're just kind of in that research stage, we're gonna break it all down because the answer is not as straightforward as you think. Before diving in though, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Lisa, I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and I love sharing tips and tricks to help working dogs build better relationships with their handlers. If you're currently self-training a service dog, or if you're in that research and consideration stage, I encourage you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Also, by hitting that like button, you'll be providing me with some positive reinforcement, which humans can use too. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. Starting with the most expensive option, hiring a professional trainer to fully train your dog to be a service dog. Depending on where you're located, because region can have a huge impact on price, not just for dog training, but for everything. This is going to be a general ballpark, but I would say in general, it's gonna be around the 5-figure range. And depending on how much support you're looking for, whether it's for the end stages of training or whether you're having a trainer fully help you pick out a puppy from a breeder, that can also make a big difference as well. So this can range all the way from $10,000, $15,000 to $60,000, depending on how much support you're getting. The reason why it's such a significant investment is because you're literally paying a professional trainer to fully train your service dog, do all the homework for you. I'm sure you'll still have a little bit of homework as well to upkeep that training, but in general, they're doing all of the heavy lifting for you, which can require a lot of hours from this professional trainer. So let's go over some of the pros and cons of having a trainer fully train your service dog. Biggest pro is that you're going to have a highly trained and skilled dog, especially if you did your research finding a good trainer to do this. And at the end of the day, a trainer does this as a career and they are professionally doing this. They've invested the time and energy into learning about training. They're gonna do a better job than someone else who either doesn't know anything about training or doesn't do this professionally. And I just know from experience that a lot of people think that they're able to do it, and not to say that they can't, but they're just not going to be as efficient as a professional trainer. The second reason is it is time efficient for the handler. You can obtain a dog, hire someone to train it for you, and you don't have to spend as much time doing the heavy lifting of the training. And last but not least, it can be extremely helpful for those with physical disabilities whose mobility limits them from training. Although you can always ask a friend, not everyone wants to ask a friend or a family, and not everyone has a friend or family member to help them. Now for the cons. So one is going to be less bonding time with your dog. Number two is that you have to remember that you're still the one that's going to be using the service dog. So you still have to do some training, you have to upkeep the training. And so it's not 100% no work. You're still gonna have to put in some work. It's just that the trainer is gonna do the heavy lifting for you. Last but not least, I already mentioned this, but it's really, really expensive. Not everyone has or wants to spend that much money for training their service dog. The next option is purchasing a service dog from an organization that trains service dogs for you. These dogs are typically going to be bred for service dog work and trained through that organization. The cost of this can range from $15,000 all the way to $30,000. Once again, this is just a ballpark because every organization is different. I should also mention that I'm not talking about non-profit organizations right now. I'll talk about those next. I'm talking about an organization or a business that is for profit and they train service dogs for you. A lot of times this is going to be less expensive than hiring a private dog trainer for your existing dog. But it's still going to cost you a considerable amount of money, like I said, $15,000 to even $60,000. Also remember that service dog training isn't regulated. The downside of this is that you could end up spending a lot of money and have a dog who isn't really trained at all. I actually have a client who obtained a dog through one of these organizations that ended up being not really trained at all. And she hired me to help her kind of basically train her dog for public access, which was insane because the dog was in that 5-figure range and wasn't trained at all. I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to mention the name of the organization, but just do your research. So the issue is a lot of these organizations will use independent contractors and don't really have any oversight on how the dogs are being trained or have limited oversight. So you could get one person who said they had a great experience and another person who has a fully untrained, aggressive dog, even by pet dog standards, not well trained. And so you don't want to fall into that. That's why I say, like, really do your research. Okay, so let's go over the pros and cons of purchasing from an organization. The first pro is the dogs have been bred and trained for service dog work. The second pro, which in theory should be a pro, but like I said, you have to double check, is that they have professional trainers that are fully training the service dog for you. The third is that it often does come with a guarantee or additional support after you purchase the dog. The issue is, the reason why you want to do your research is because even if someone has a guarantee, you're going to have to return that previous dog. And if you already have a bond and you've already been trying to make that dog work for you, it's going to be hard to give that dog back from an emotional perspective. So let's talk about the cons. I already mentioned the high cost in the 5-figure range. It could be less personalized training. And like I said, every organization is different. So I'm not speaking for every single organization, but a lot of them are just training generally for public access versus your specific life and what you do in your everyday life and training for those distractions. Some can have long waiting lists, although not as long as the nonprofit organizations. And finally, as I mentioned, there's very little regulation, so you have to really do your research. Let's talk about the service dog organizations that are nonprofits. Most of the time, you're gonna have to qualify to be able to obtain a dog. So a lot of these dogs will train service dogs for veterans or for a specific type of disability. And most of the time, your dog is going to be free or very, very low cost. Now, to most people, this is gonna sound amazing. Like, you just get a dog for free and you don't have to train them. That is awesome. But hold on, not so fast. The issue with these organizations is that everyone thinks this is awesome. And so they have really, really, really long waiting lists. So the pros for working with a nonprofit service dog organization and getting your dog for free is, first, that it's free or very low cost, so it's gonna be more accessible. 2, they typically will train the dog for you, and they typically do a very good job because they are a nonprofit and there's really no benefit of them giving you an untrained service dog, but you still should do your research. Third, most of them do breed their own dogs for service dog training, and so they're actively looking for breeds or specific dogs to breed that have those qualities of a successful service dog. But as I mentioned, the big con is that there is a very, very long waiting list. A lot of them can be 5 years or more. And so not everyone has the time to wait for a service dog. Next, we have the option of working with a service dog trainer while self-training your service dog. You're using the trainer for limited support while you self-train, just to make sure that you're on the right track with your training and to get some of that extra support and tips and tricks while you are working through certain obstacles, or whether you need support in coming up with training plans and things like that. If you choose to train your dog yourself with the help of a professional trainer, you can expect to pay around $100 to $200 per session. And obviously this depends on how much support you are looking for, how often you're looking to meet, and things like that. Depending on how many sessions you need, this can add up, but it's often much more manageable than some of the previous options. And you kind of have that flexibility of deciding based on your skill level, how much support you need from a professional trainer. So the pros of working with a private trainer in combination with self-training is that it's gonna be flexible with scheduling your training sessions, as well as, second, you get to use your own dog, so there's not the expense of adding in another dog because you still have to feed your service dog. They're still a dog, so you're gonna still have to do all of that vet care and things like that. So if you can train an already existing dog, it might save you some money as long as that dog is appropriate and has that temperament for service dog work. And last but not least, it's going to be personalized, so you have more of that flexibility as far as what you want to focus on for training. Now for the cons. So the cons are, it can still be very expensive because those costs can add up. It's going to require a lot more time and commitment from you, the handler. And since the handler is going to be doing the majority of the training, the progress can be slower. They're gonna have to learn how to train first and have proper training mechanics. To go off of in-person training, I do wanna mention that you can work with an organization who provides training at a lower or free cost. For example, there is Atlas Assistance Dogs, which has a hybrid approach where you can go through online learning and work with a volunteer facilitator who will help you through the process. They do require that your dog has already passed the Canine Good Citizen, as well as some other requirements that you can look at on their website. So if you're interested, I've linked to their website below on how to get started with them. But they can help you self-train your service dog for a much lower cost. Finally, if you're looking to get started with service dog training, you can go the online course route. I apologize, my camera died, but I wanted to come back here and finish my video, so that's why it looks a little bit different. But essentially what I want to say is that I've created the Psychiatric Service Dog A to Z self-training blueprint to help you better understand how to self-train a psychiatric service dog. This blueprint is only $19 and it includes a checklist for your public access training so you know exactly what you need to train. For those of you who are in the US, it also includes an ADA overview so you better understand your rights. Ultimately, if your goal is to confidently train a psychiatric service dog, this blueprint is an amazing place to start, and I know you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. As you can see, the cost of self-training can vary greatly. This is part of the issue when people ask me, how much is it to train a service dog? There's such a large variety that it can get a little bit confusing, and I wanted to create this video to address all of the nuances to everything. And some people who have more money than time and motivation might think that they don't have to train at all, when in reality, no matter what, you are your dog's trainer and you're going to have to learn the skills to at least upkeep that training. Now, it is a lot easier if someone does all of the work for you, but keep in mind that no matter what, you're still going to have to learn those skills to, like I said, upkeep those behaviors. All right, so that's it for today. If you have any follow-up questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and you can always DM me on Instagram as well. I'm happy to answer your questions there. If you have any topics you want me to create videos around, let me know in the comments below as well, as I'm always trying to brainstorm new content ideas, and I'd rather make videos that you guys are actually looking for. So like I said, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much, and I will see you in the next video.